of these songs are bringing something totally fresh to my ears. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Molly, and in this video I'm going to be listening to the album Mer de Noms from the band A Perfect Circle. Now here on my channel I have been doing a little Tool album reaction series, and I have finally heard all 5 of Tool's studio albums and loved each and every one of them. So I thought it was about time now to start diving into some of Maynard James Keenan's side projects, and the obvious choice to start with is A Perfect Circle. This one gets recommended time and time again to me, and I figured I'd start off with their debut album Mer de Noms that they released in 2000, and yeah, just see what I'm going to think of A Perfect Circle. Alright, so up first on Mer de Noms is track 1, which is called The Hollow. There's a very strong industrial tone to this one. It, funnily enough, has a kind of hollow sound to it. Okay, now they're slowing it down a little bit. They're kind of pulling in that sound. And then they bring it right back. I really love that progressive sound of the guitars. It brings a sense of anticipation to this song, like something is building up or rising up. Well, that was track 1, The Hollow. I really liked the tone of that song. Like I said, very industrial sounding. There was a sort of echoiness to it. It's very strange, I've got to say, hearing Maynard James Keenan's vocals with a different band. I'm so used to associating his voice with Tool. It's cool though, I like it. I kind of like hearing his voice in a different context, so to speak. But yeah, I am very intrigued to hear more, that's for sure. So I'm going to move on to track 2, which is called Magdalena. That bass right off the bat, man, I love it. There's a really strong simmering energy to this one. It's creating a sort of tension almost to the sound of this song. There's such a cool atmosphere on this track. It's got this amazing echoey quality to it. Alright, some very strong vocal distortion going on here toward the end. Well, that was track 2, Magdalena. The atmosphere they created on that song was just fantastic. It had this amazing echoiness to it and kind of like this seething tension that was just building up. It kind of just lended a certain electronic tone, kind of this dark, haunted tone that's actually reminded me a little bit of Cross's, Chino Moreno's side project from Deftones. Alright, up next is going to be track 3, which is called Rose. This one's off to a fascinating start. There's just a lot of different sounds going on. I'm picking up on, again, some slight electronic sounding tones as well. Oh yeah. I just love how this song is going back and forth so much. There's such intensity on the chorus, but then they pull it back in and it's so stripped back and kind of calming. I know we've got some violin, it sounds like, coming in. Phew, well that was track 3, Rose. I absolutely loved all of the variety going on with those instrumentals. That was just crazy. And sonically, it definitely was like kind of this push and pull between really soft and really aggressive, almost like he was fighting a war with himself or there's some sort of internal battle going on. That was sonically what that song was reminding me of, so I'm definitely going to have to go back and revisit the lyrics more on that one and kind of see if they line up with that. But moving on to track 4, we have Judith. Oh yeah, this one's bringing some intensity here to the vocals. Man, this song has such a big open sound to it. Again, they're kind of bringing that slight echoiness to it. There's something about the intensity of his voice on this one that is really reminding me of Undertow, the first album by Tool. It's got a similar tone to it. See, on this part, it's like the song just opened up there all of a sudden. It has such a big sound to it. Well, that was track 4, Judith. Probably the most intense one on this album so far, the most just aggressive sounding. That one, there was just a really amazing expansive sound to the instrumentals when the chorus would come in. It's like the song almost broke open and it just had this huge sound to it that they managed to create. All right, so I'm going to move on to track 5, which is called Orestes, if I'm saying that right. There's a really amazing looseness, like a relaxed quality to this one. There's this great floatiness to it, or almost like you're underwater. More medicated, peaceful moment. So it's almost like this song is that peaceful moment on this album. It's like a break from the intensity for a little bit, but he's implying that it's like medicated, that it's an induced calmness and it's not reality. Now it almost sounds like there's 2 vocalists at this part. Well, that was track 5, Orestes. There was almost a sense of desperation in his voice on that track, almost like he knew that moment of peacefulness was going to come to an end, like it was inevitable. And then just sonically, that song was just, like I said, really beautiful, kind of cathartic in a way. There was a sort of intensity to it at parts, but they kept it pretty muted, and I thought that was a really interesting decision on their part to kind of keep that song on the softer side. All right, moving on to track 6, we have 3 Libras. All right, they've got the strings back on this one. Yeah, this is another track they're kind of keeping a little bit more pulled in. It's got a very strong acousticness to it. Is that a flute that I'm hearing? Well, that was track 6, 3 Libras. Instrumentally, I thought it was really, really fascinating how they were fusing on like some flute I picked up on, the stringed instruments. I think that violin was back at the very beginning of that one. And again, kind of like a desperation to his voice. That's the word that keeps coming to mind. Like he's reaching for something and trying to grab hold of it, but he's not quite able to grasp it. All right, moving on to track 7, we have Sleeping Beauty. There's a really amazing denseness, sort of a heaviness to this one here at the beginning. I believe I can cure it all, magically heal you. I like how they just kind of stopped the song completely there for a second. It's just a really interesting pairing between that guitar is so heavy sounding and then his voice is very tender on this one. There's just sort of lightness to it. And then there's like some really subtle, super distorted background vocals too at times. That was track 7, Sleeping Beauty. I absolutely loved the guitar on that one. It had such a weightiness to it. It really pulled that song down out of that kind of more floaty atmospheric sound that his vocals were more in the realm of. But I am going to move on to track 8, which is called Thomas. I find it really interesting how at times this album is vaguely reminiscent to me of Deftones, especially just now at the start of this one with his vocals. It reminded me a lot of Deftones with kind of that breathy, whispered quality. And this album was released the same year as the Deftones album White Pony, which features Maynard James Keenan on Passenger. I think that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of similarities with the sound of Mer de Noms and White Pony. They just do subtlety so well, and they know when to pull back their sound and when to bring it. It just makes for a great dynamic with their music. That was track 8, Thomas. That one was really interesting to listen to. A lot of like kind of weird jumbled background vocals faintly going on there at the end, and just a ton of atmospheric, really echoey stuff. All right, up next is track 9, which is called Renholdër. Some piano, and then is that a mandolin? I could be wrong, but definitely some sort of stringed instrument they're using. Again, just fascinating instrumentals going on here. I love that they're taking all of these instruments and they're putting it on, I guess you'd call it a rock album. Like you would never think of this as being rock music. That was track 9, Renholdër. Kind of a strange, short little track, almost interlude-ish a little bit. Just a fusion of so many varying instruments going on. I picked up on that kind of twangy stringed instrument. I don't know if it's a mandolin or something along those lines. And then the piano at the beginning, some more violin there toward the end as well. And then I also really liked that percussion toward the end. It kind of had this amazing, like, crashing sound to it. But moving on to track 10, we have Thinking of You. All of these songs are bringing something totally fresh to my ears. You know what it is? This song is really reminding me of the album Year Zero by 9 Inch Nails. It's got a definite rock sound to it, especially on the chorus, but there's this really funky, like borderline hip hop quality at times that I'm picking up on. It just keeps building up. There's all of this energy kind of like bubbling right under the surface. Well, that was track 10, Thinking of You. That one was just so different sounding, so fun to listen to. Those verses there just had this like weirdly hip hop style to them. That's like the best way I can describe it. I've never exactly heard Maynard James Keenan singing in that way before, and then with all of the distortion and everything too, it's just a different sound that I'm really, really enjoying. All right, up next is track 11, which is called Breña. There's a really great smoothness to this one, kind of a soaring sound that it has. Yeah, like his vocals are really drawn out. He's kind of stretching the words out. I love how soft this song is. It's almost like it's cocooning you in this enveloping sound. But then the instrumentals occasionally will just bring so much energy. That was track 11, Breña. That song was just beautiful. It really, really was. Just a really soft sound to it, kind of a warmth to its tone, but yet there was something about it too that was kind of sorrowful at the same time. Like he was talking about wanting to heal someone, but maybe not being able to. There was, again, kind of like this yearning, like a desperate quality to his vocals. I'm picking up on that throughout this album. There's definitely some themes going on there, but I am really curious to see how they're going to bring Mer de Noms to an end, so I'm going to move on to track 12, which is called Over. I was not expecting that. Bend over. It's amazing, by just adding that piano, it took this song from kind of this funny little ending, and now it's giving it this really serious, more mature tone. So this. Well, that was track 12, Over, the last song on Mer de Noms. I thought that was such a fascinating way to end that album. Not what I was expecting at all. Just the way it went from the start where I was almost like laughing to myself at how funny it sounded, and then at the end it was like giving me goosebumps. Well, that is going to conclude my reaction to Mer de Noms, the debut studio album from the band A Perfect Circle. This entire project was absolutely riveting to listen to. So fascinating, so many different sounds going on, and a ton of experimentation. Right now, with just one listen, it's almost impossible for me to pick a favorite. I guess some of the standouts for me right now would be maybe track 2, Magdalena. That one was just a fascinating blend of stuff going on. Track 8, Thomas, had some really atmospheric, kind of haunting qualities that were vaguely reminiscent of Deftones to me, so obviously I really enjoyed that one. And track 4, Judith, I loved the punchiness of that song too. But this whole project from beginning to end I thought was absolutely fantastic. I loved the entire thing, and I am very excited now to hear more from A Perfect Circle. So yeah, as usual, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned, and I will see you in the next video.